All right, good evening. I made a new intro, and if you listen to the words, it's basically because I like to do what I like to do on this channel, and I am not a person that is going to follow any leader. I'm not going to do what other YouTube channels do. I do what I want to do, you know? And so, just in case that message doesn't get across, there's my message. I cover what I want when I want. I pick my topics, get the guests that I want to have, like Friday night, we have Paul Beckwith. Finally, we got Paul. And we've got David Baum coming up. I mean, I march to the beat of my own drummer. So there's the reason why I made a new intro. And I like that artist. I'll have it all in the show notes, but she was the artist that did the song Beware of the Crone. She's cool. And so if it gets monetized, I share the whatever. I hardly get any views anyway, so she's not going to get much, but it'll share. And that's what I like, because you use music, and if it's a copyright and it's a person that lets you use it, they then get some of what it earns. So I think that's really very cool. Okay, so hello everyone, and let me say a quick hello to Kim and John. Hi, John and Bella and Clean Titans. Hello, Wanda, Karen, One Living World. Hello, hello. I already have my, look at that. I already have my obligatory thumbs down by whoever that thumbs down person is that follows me. Good for them. So tonight we're talking about prepping. And it's really, really interesting that today, well, for a couple of days, we've known that that the weather was going to be bad, right? That there was potential for like really shitty weather. And so this morning I turned on the news. Well, not the news, I turned on the YouTube video from the local weather channel, and they were telling us that terrible storms could come down to where I am, and there could be potential for tornadoes. And whenever I hear that, that's it for me. I have a safe area. And I'm going to show you the video. I put it up today. I made a short because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But it's just interesting that because this is about, well, I called it Lefty Preppers after Alex Steffen's, Alex Steffen. You'll hear about him tonight. Now, I've got the fan on in my room. It's making me a little itchy because it was hot out today, too. It was in the 80s. So we had like really terrible predictions past my house, didn't come. But I have learned with my safe area that it takes 10 minutes to get everything downstairs. It takes 10 minutes to set it up. And that's good. Hang on a second. I need a drink, and I'm not going to slop. I'm not going to swallow in your ears. I'm always thirsty. And I'm not a diabetic, and it's not any of that. It's just I'm thirsty. Okay. So, Wanda, you said it looked horrendous there, huh? Let me see. Let's see. It looked horrendous here. The big black steely clouds, but all we really got was a good rain and a little wind, some thunder, and a bit of lightning. Phew, I know. We didn't even get that much rain. And I opened up my water catchment. I closed it so that I could get water in it now, and drop in the cleaning thing. Yeah, and we'll talk about Sam at the end of the show. I did a GoFundMe for Sam Mitchell of Collapse Chronicles, who fell off a roof in Atlanta helping another friend, and he was on his way, and he would have been here helping me like he does every single May with my garden and opening it up. So now I'm going to have a little difficulty, but I got some help coming on Thursday, which is really cool. Even though it's May 1st, I'm supposed to go out to protest, but it just so happens I got the help coming. So anyway, let's get started. All right. we will get started because I have a lot. You're all talking and people are joining, but I do have I have a lot to go over because I consider myself somewhat of a prepper. I am not necessarily a lefty prepper. I mean, I'm definitely a lefty, but I'm not a MAGA prepper. I'm not anything. Like I don't like to fit myself into any kind of mold, I suppose. And that's why, yeah, doomer or whatever, all these labels. I've already made things about labels before. I'm just a person. And I like, again, to think, to live how I want to live. But I'm also an observant person. And I am observant enough to know that everything, and I'm going to talk about the United States because, again, I know Canada, but I know other countries, and housing and everything's built differently. But in the United States, all our infrastructure and our communities and businesses and industries, nothing is built for the world that's arriving, that's sliding in with the heat. And so tonight we'll talk about other people that are talking about things that are happening and that they are doing and what kind of preppers they are. Now, of course, I'm not bringing on any right-wing whack job, preppers, weirdos, or the evangelical end times doomsday. We have to take everybody with us because whatever's going to happen happens. So, but first, I will show you what happened today and what I do to, oh my goodness, I hope everything's here. Okay, here we go. So let me show you this video if you didn't see it, and then you could see my little area downstairs. All right, we definitely have storm weather coming, and I have a show at 9 o'clock. But I don't know, it looks like it's coming. So the wind is coming. I hear the thunder. You hear the thunder? Okay. Basically, if it gets shitty, I shut everything, lock it all up, and I've got all the windows closed. The battery's over here in the middle, so it's not near any window. And we have to shut the light off to the seeds, right? Okay, let's shut the seed lights off. I've gotten really good at this now. Okay. And having my shit downstairs that I need. Then we go downstairs. And it's just really funny that I'm doing a video on lefty prepping. And we are expecting storms. So, this is what I do. I go downstairs. And I've got my spot, and I've got cat boxes, the cat, but I don't know if I can get them all down here, but here I go. The door is already secured just in case. I've lived through this. I sit here in the corner. Okay, so in the corner I got what I need here: water, helmet. A helmet's important. I've got 3 of them. I had 3 Harleys. You really don't. So, that helmet. I got everything. There's food down here. The cat's down here. But you got to be careful. This is the space in the house that is the safest. The wood stove is not here. It's on the other side. And pretty much there's not that much. This is just where the deck is. So, helmet. Rain, I got rain suit. I got this blanket, which is one of these nice blankets that are... It's got the silver in it. Got the inside. That's really, it's warm. I mean, you have to do that. You have to be very careful. It's the way it is when you live in the Anthropocene. All right. So that's what I did today. But what was good, that nothing happened. But I have a rain suit and rain pants and boots and a helmet. I bring the things I need downstairs that can't stay up which is, I mean, I could make you a list, but you got to make sure that when you are down there, you have to make sure you've got a few days, just in case something happens, a few days worth of things that you need. Water. Try to shuttle 6 cats downstairs. That's hard. All their food's downstairs. But water, Band-Aids, you have a medical pack. And there are other channels that I'm going to show you that teach you a lot about this kind of prepping. But I'm not just a community prepper. I have my firearms, I make sure that anything I have is downstairs with me. It's not going to blow away like Dorothy's house. It's where I live, and I'm not embarrassed. I'm an American. If things were different, well, they would be different, right? So we're going to move on from me onto this was the article that actually got me on this. And there's another video I have, which I actually found on another channel. Somebody did a video for this. The channel has 1 subscriber. It's not the most amazing video, but you know what? It's not me reading it. And I thought that the article was interesting. And that's why all of his guns will do nothing for him. Lefty Preppers are taking a different approach to doomsday. Well, not all of us. And I don't call it doomsday. So I think it's kind of, the word doomsday. We're living in the doomosphere. I mean, we know that climate is changing. And we know that we are suffering from a rotten-ass case of overshoot. In fact, a, finality case of overshoot. So I don't know. Do you think maybe I'll play you the video? The video doesn't go over the whole thing, but I'll play you the video. Nothing to lose. Let's do that, and I can sit back and watch it with you. Remember, I didn't make it, and here we go, and we'll see how it comes out.
Prepping for the apocalypse.
Hang on.
The rise of liberal survivalists. On a chilly afternoon in February, I found myself diving into the intriguing world of doomsday preparation, not with a bunker full of guns and canned goods, but through an online course called Ruggedize Your Life. The basics. As I logged in, I was greeted by a mosaic of faces on my screen, each one reflecting a mix of concern and curiosity. Among my classmates were a geophysicist, an actor, a retired financial advisor, and a civil engineer, all of us united by a common fear, the looming threat of climate collapse. The term climate change had morphed into something far more dire, and with each passing day, the hope for a competent government response to disasters seemed to fade.
Person only has 1 subscriber.
Our instructor for the 2-hour session was Alex Steffen, a 56-year-old author and futurist who spoke to us from his home in the Bay Area. With years of experience as an environmental reporter and a reputation as a leading thinker on sustainability, Steffen had witnessed the narrowing window for action on climate issues. It's staggering and heart-wrenching that we blew this so badly, he lamented, reflecting on the inaction of governments and institutions.
That's right, let's do something good,
the worst impacts of climate change were now unavoidable. Steffen shifted his focus from reporting to advising individuals and communities on how to prepare for the inevitable. His classes have seen a surge in interest, doubling in attendance each year since 2021, with expectations of 2,000 participants this year alone. Unlike the traditional image of preppers, often associated with right-wing ideologies, Steffen represents a new breed of survivalist. The prepper movement, which began in the 1950s, was fueled by fears of nuclear war, civil unrest, and societal collapse. Early preppers, often dubbed retreaters, hoarded supplies and built hidden bunkers, prioritizing individual survival over community welfare. However, the movement took a hit in the 1990s due to its association with militia groups and violent incidents. It re-emerged post 9/11 as many Americans began to question the reliability of government responses to crises, especially after the failures seen during Hurricane Katrina.
I wonder if it sounds all right.
Prepping has gone mainstream, with millions of Americans taking steps to prepare for potential disasters. Recent surveys suggest that over 20 million people in the US are now engaged in some form of preparedness, a significant increase from just a few years ago. Interestingly, about 15% of these preppers identify as liberals, and their numbers are on the rise. In a private Facebook group dedicated to liberal preparedness, members share tips on maintaining online anonymity, stockpiling essential medications, and discussing the ethical implications of their choices. Unlike their right-wing counterparts, who often focus on stockpiling weapons for self-defense, liberal preppers are more concerned with the long-term impacts of climate change and the need for community resilience. Steffen emphasizes that true preparedness goes beyond just having supplies on hand. If you find yourself in a situation where you're having to let off some rounds to protect your canned goods, you've already failed, he told our class. The focus should be on understanding the interconnectedness of our social and economic systems and how to strengthen them against the impacts of climate collapse. He introduced us to the concept of ruggedization, a military term that refers to designing systems to withstand unexpected challenges while maintaining core functions. Steffen urged us to recognize the brittleness in our current systems and work towards remedying it. He shared a map highlighting areas in the U.S. most vulnerable to climate impacts, advising those in high-risk zones to consider relocating. However, the idea of uprooting one's life is not a feasible solution for everyone. Many in the liberal prepper community, influenced by the philosophy of mutual aid, argue for building strong community ties instead of isolating oneself. As Margaret Killjoy, host of the anarchist prepper podcast Live Like the World is Dying, pointed out, there's not much preparedness you can do for the end of the world. The typical survivalist fantasy of retreating to a remote cabin is increasingly seen as impractical. Steffen and others believe that urban settings, especially those actively developing resilience plans, may offer better safety and support. The more people who share resources and infrastructure, the better prepared a community will be to face challenges together. Moreover, there's a growing recognition of the emotional and spiritual dimensions of preparing for catastrophe. As David Baum, a volunteer with the Community Emergency Response Team, discovered, traditional approaches to crisis response often prioritize policing over community well-being. After engaging with the concept of deep adaptation, which emphasizes acceptance of our current reality, Baum founded Collapse Club, a space for people to discuss their feelings about impending crises. In our discussions, it became clear that genuine preparedness requires both outer resilience, having the necessary supplies, and inner resilience, cultivating emotional strength and community bonds. Baum articulated a profound truth. Survival is not the goal. It is impossible, given what's happening. The relationships and wisdom we discover by approaching nature with respect, that's the goal. As we navigate this uncertain future, the message from the new wave of liberal preppers is clear. It's not just about surviving the apocalypse. It's about how we maintain our humanity, support one another, and find purpose in the face of adversity. In the words of Jem Bindell, a prominent thinker in this space, humanity is really screwed, so let's slow down, help each other, be nicer to animals and nature, defend freedom, grow food, play more, and be open-minded about what might help.
All right, I'm somewhere in the middle. And I couldn't believe I bumped into that video, and the guy, whoever it is, has only one subscriber, so I'm not sure. I don't know if that was AI or anything, but it was just easy for me, especially on today. So why not? I'll have the show notes. But I mean, it's really not even any kind of channel, but. So that was the article. It's about a different way. I'm going to tell you, I'm somewhere in the middle of this whole thing. I'm not a doomsday prepper. And Snicks said, let me pull that up because Snicks said, it's not going to happen in our lifetime. Well, it's happening in our lifetime. We're not going to see one day everything collapses, just like a blue ocean event. It's not going to be one day, that, oh, okay, there's no ice. I mean, everything is a gradual. We're just seeing gradual go a lot faster than previously expected. But this, I thought the article was good. And Steffen he's the one that wrote it. Every piece of infrastructure, every home, every community, every business, every industry was built to work in a world that no longer exists. And it doesn't. And if you think it does, that everything is the same, business as usual, then you're deluded. But there are millions of people in the United States alone that believe that, and they all voted for Donald Trump, the orange turd, aka on this channel. So there was something I wanted to go. This was the Branch Davidians, but I wanted to go down that wasn't read. All right. So one private Facebook group dedicated to preparedness for liberals. I don't even know if I consider myself a liberal. I definitely feel like a progressive lefty, but here, no one finds trad wife, gun porn, Teotihuacan, although Teotihuacan is very important in our community, end of the world as we know it. Because it's wrong it is the end of the world as we know it. It's a changing world. You have to accept it. That's what collapse acceptance is about. Doesn't have to be frightening. We're trying to make it that way. Instead, participants offer advice on maintaining one's online anonymity under a potential fascist regime. Well, obviously, I failed that. Advocate the stockpiling of anxiety meds and reading material ahead of expected bans, and debate the moral dilemma of buying a first aid kit from a company that caters to law enforcement. Liberal preparedness podcasters and newsletter writers I spoke to also reported a notable uptake in subscribers since the Orange Turds election. Okay, let's break that down a little bit. Stockpiling anxiety meds. First of all, how do you do that? How do you do that when doctors in the United States are so... You can't just stockpile them unless you get them and lie and stash them. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of funny, odd. I mean, listen, I would stockpile them, totally stockpile them. Although right now, anxiety is something we all have. It's not something... I don't think there's one person that's sitting in this that doesn't have some anxiety. Right? So I thought that was kind of interesting. That's my newest thing, though. I say, right? I noticed that a lot. I wonder if that took over. All right. So they differ. And what we anticipate definitely does have different characteristics. We know at least our channel and people that are in this community, we know that the climate crisis is going to change everything, and it already is. We definitely know it. Steffen knows it. He says he's moderately progressive, but he's selling something now. And he's selling ruggedization. And that's what that video was about, ruggedization. It is, he borrowed it from the military. It's the design of a system such that it can take unexpected punishment and retain its core functions. Now, I have nothing wrong with this. But, of course, there's a lot of people that can't afford to take these classes. And that's one of my little things. But everybody has to make a living. This is a gig economy. So he used it. He uses the Climate Vulnerability Index, which probably won't be here for long, but it is operated by Texas A&M, so I don't know who they get money from. And he would say, if I lived there in Texas, I would already be thinking about how to get out. Okay, so extreme heat will make much of the Sun Belt inhospitable as well. And then talks about that AMOC. But the thing is, how is it realistic to think that millions of people are going to migrate all over the United States? It's not. And that ain't going to happen. So mostly it's really about acclimating. And if it gets too hot, well, then I guess it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen like millions of people moving to New York. It's just not going to happen. People are going to die. That is the truth. And especially with this administration taking away the research, taking away the scientists, people are going to die. It could be me. It could be you. It could be me if a tornado hits this place. My house is not sustainable. My house is made of bricks. Sticks, you know. I have a metal roof. That's good. I got a metal roof. So that helps with fire, embers. But there's a lot of things to do. I don't have the money to make my house climate resilient. So you do the best you can. And we all do the best we can. So anyway, Steffen, he's all too aware uprooting is far from ideal, even though for those who can afford it. For one thing, it'll tend to weaken the family and community ties that keep us safe. Moreover, he noted that the exodus of people with money, resources, and skills from endangered areas would tend to amplify the crisis for those left behind. And nobody said the apocalypse would be pretty. So this article's in there. I really want you to read it. For sure. There's no reason not to. A distinctive characteristic of liberal prepperism is an increasing focus on emotional, even spiritual aspect of facing catastrophe, which is true. And that's why in the video I was talking about David Baum, and I'm talking about Karen Perry, Karen and Jordan, and people that are helping us. That's why David was in here, and they talked about Jem Bendell, who hit it right out of the ballpark. And he wrote that book, Breaking Together. Humanity's really screwed. So let's slow down, help each other, be nicer to animals and nature, defend freedom, grow food, play more, be open-minded about what might help, and forgive ourselves. All right, there we go. So that is what I wanted to start out with, because every single one of you is a prepper. You may not know it, but it's going to happen. And there's learning. You don't necessarily have to learn by taking Alex's $260 course. It's probably a wonderful course with tons of information, but there are places to go to learn, like American Resiliency. We're going to look at that. He writes another article, How Do You Build a Personal Climate Strategy in Crazy Times? Now, his Substack is all about promoting his ruggedizing his life, and his basics class begins on May 15th. If you could afford it, let's see if does it have how much it is. He's got 20 sliding scale places at 149. Oh, well, listen. Anybody wants to send me, I'd love to do it. I would, although I think I'm ahead of some people, but I would love to do it. I can't. I can't even do that. But he's right in what I'm going to just go down the second paragraph. Humanity's failure to act on climate means that each of us now has the responsibility of finding our own paths through a vast crisis. Because we failed to come together as a society and face these realities together, we're now all forced to face them alone. No one wants this to be true, but it is. He's a good writer. He's decent. I'd like to see if I can get him on here. I haven't written to him. You know I'm the biggest procrastinator. But the planetary crisis is here now, much fiercer than we hoped. Our assumptions about climate politics, action, and response must now all be rethought. True. That's what I'm here for. All of this is made even more urgent for Americans by the Orange Turd's attack on climate science, clean energy, disaster prevention, and recovery. Now, when did this is from the 17th, okay, my mom's birthday. Tough times ahead. The crisis is the context in which every major life decision you make will play out for the rest of your life. How many millions of Americans don't understand that? They don't understand it. We will still need to do everything we can to limit it. Global heating and ecological collapse, of course, and I agree with that. We have to do everything, maybe not the technical things that carbon capture bullshit. I'm more natural things. Of course, we've talked about that ad nauseum on the channel. But he talks about ruggedizing your life, and he can help you. So he's doing it twice a year, and I'm giving him a free advertisement. It's okay. But I'm just going to tell you what it covers, because we can do this too. Making good long-term decisions for an unstable future. We can do this together on this channel. We can do it with American Resiliency. We can do this with Alex if you can afford to. I'm not telling anybody not to go. Why every personal climate strategy will be unique. There's not one formula for everyone. Absolutely not. He's right in all of this. Why there are no surefire solutions, but we can make better choices and improve our odds. How bad might the planetary crisis get? We've talked about this for how many years now? 8 years. Why is location so critical to good outcomes in the coming decades? And why have recent political events made it even more critical? Why does timing matter so much? Brief explanation of the key concepts: discontinuity, brittleness, relative safety, ruggedization, and all that. So the coming climate housing crisis. 3 general criteria: best measure the strengths and weaknesses of places you might move. He should really get together with Dr. Emily Shorning. A few useful tips for pursuing personal ruggedization on a budget and planning for a chaotic future with kids. Jessica Wildfire talks about that. Afterwards, all participants receive a follow-up email with the class recording. So it's kind of cool. I would love to do it, but I really can't even afford $140, and that's pretty bad right now. It is, but I can't. So we're going to do it ourselves. Now, I found this other article, which I think is pretty hysterical, and I wanted to, it was an alternate. This was from January. Liberal preppers are getting ready for the orange turd's second presidency. Here's how. Now, I'm not going through this whole thing. I just thought it was pretty funny. There were some really funny parts. All right. Now, in January, before they knew all the bullshit was going to happen, liberal preppers were worried about the stability of the economy and the power grid. A lot of us are. Okay. We think about maybe forget the economy. I'm so far out of any economy. And the power grid, which definitely is something we all should think about. But unlike conservatives, they also worry about climate change-induced disasters and the potential that the orange turd will weaken America's security through foreign policy snafus, which is happening. We're watching it. I mean, what happened today? Every day there's something different. Today we found out in 90 days that really the orange turd wants to use the military in the streets. And if you know about that happening, every single police department in the entire United States should be pissed off, because basically what the orange turds administration is saying, that the police departments cannot do their job. And he's tasked that idiot Pete Hegseth, Signalgate moron, to do this. Every single police department should be pissed. And boy, I'm already shit starting online about that, because it's so insulting. We don't need the American military on the streets. Hell, we don't even need the police departments half the time. We need to actually retrain police departments not to be militarized. In Buffalo, New York itself, I have seen the militarization of the police department in that city. Ridiculous. So there was something I wanted to laugh about with you. I will find it. It was the survey on Facebook, which definitely, okay, it's a Facebook survey. So how good is that one, right? How statistically significant is it? Among the calamities, they are politically driven: economic and societal collapse, an attack from a foreign power, and completely random, a pandemic, a natural disaster. And of course, everybody's talking about all these things. Bird flu and RFK Jr. just like changing everything to his own view when he's not a doctor. That's my biggest thing is he's not an MD. He's nothing. All right. Here it was. Kazan points out that some of the liberal preppers she interviewed had an air of paranoia. I need to find my laugh, but I can't find the laugh. All right, wait, here it is. Okay, here we go. Can you hear this? Yeah, we're paranoid. Are we paranoid? Okay. An air of paranoia, which I thought that was funny. I have seen so much more paranoia on the MAGA side, on the red side, than I ever see on the left. And I hate to say it's sides, but I'm a consumer of all kinds of information for this channel. I probably wouldn't do what I do if I listen, if I didn't have a channel, I wouldn't read half the shit I read. I might be reading for pleasure. So we're going to move over and we're going to talk about really quickly how easy it is to figure this out. How easy it is by just using this website for as long as it's up. The NOAA Gov Education Resources Collection. This is climate data and projections, the Climate Explorer. If this goes down, I'm telling you, anybody that has extra paper, print it out. So you look at these things, the water, food, human health, the environment, and infrastructure. And they kind of give you a playbook on really how to be a climate prepper, which is, I guess, a better name for it. Is maybe climate, environment, collapse prepper than lefty prepper. But all of these things, you have to plan for water. You know, like, for example, here I got a rainwater catchment system. It's not big and it's not for actually drinking, but it is for watering vegetables in a drought. It's for using in a drought or for even the animals if I had to. I could use it for drinking, but it's a plastic bin. And so it's got some green growth inside, even though I have these disinfectant tablets, which I have to use. I can't get in it and scrub it. You know, you would need like a stainless steel. If you were going to be drinking that water, you'd probably not want to use plastic. I personally don't, but I'll water my stuff with it if I have to. So that kind of thing. But water systems, water cleanliness. I have life straws if I had to drink out of the creek. So all of these things, there's so many things underneath water. Food. How do you do food? How are you going to do food in a city? Are you going to join a community garden? Are you going to use any extra space in your place to grow food inside? Hydroponics if the power lasts. A deck. Potted gardens. Excuse me. Pot gardens. But, food. And these are all things that a lot of us inherently know. I know. Hello, Loie Norquist. I see you joined us. I quickly looked. Hi. Food. So there's me. For example, I'm just starting the garden. Late a little bit. I am not like I used to be. I have real significant spine issues that are keeping me from doing everything I need to do. So I had to hire somebody. That's why I can't take Alex's course. And hopefully all the weeds will be gone and then I can take it from there. I can take it from there. Obviously, I'm not getting my raised beds since I told you already. My Amish neighbor's moving to Vermont, so he's not building the beds and I don't have money for the beds anyway, and I'm not complaining about money. That's not the point. So food. Grow your food, or what stores, what's around, farmers markets in seasons. Depending on where you live, there could be farmers markets year round. Canning. I happen to can, so I think about extra propane. Do I like it? No. Can't can on my electric stove. My canner is like a spaceship. It's so heavy. It's called All American and it's a pressure canner and it's very big and it'll break the stove, which I went all electric in the last couple of years. Pretty much. So I have extra propane for that. So I can when I need to can. I have a water bath canner. You stock up on things, cookbooks, canning books. You could buy them. You could buy them anywhere cheap. You don't have to buy new books. Used books, all kinds of prepping books. I have books on how to fix anything. That's not meaning I know how to fix anything. I just have the books. And of course, if the power goes out, you're not going to have a YouTube channel to tell you how to do things, which a lot of us do, which I do for everything. So books on how to fix pretty much everything. Human health. Okay. First aid kits, medications. In a crisis now, other people tell you, prepare for a crisis of a day, prepare for 3 days, prepare for 3 months. When it's a lot longer than that, and you have all kinds of stuff, people might want to hurt you. And that's the truth, depending on where you are. So to have, a bunker with 2 years worth of shit is like you're a sitting duck. But human health, where are your physicians going to be? Is there going to be a pharmacy? Can you live without any medication that you might need? Have tourniquets, have all kinds of first aid. And there's another channel I'm going to turn you on to where he talks about all that, Huples Cat. Then the environment around you. How are you going to keep your environment decent for living if it's too hot? Are you going to have to leave? I mean, these are all, and so many people are talking about all of this. Infrastructure. Our infrastructure. Okay. I know that my house would blow down. I mean, it was made, it's a shitty house, but I've done as much as I could to reinforce things. And I have a basement, as you saw, and I planned for that. So we all have to think about it. Where do we live? What kind of apartment is it? It's an old apartment. Is it a new apartment? How do you get out? Even like in an emergency, do you have a ladder to get out the window if you're on the 3rd freaking floor and you can't get down the steps? They make those window ladders. You put it down. There's all kinds of things to think about. But they go through this too. You go through all of the background and look, snowpack and how to deal with a drought and the food supply, so many different things. So, it's a nice little website, but if you can print it out, I would, because I don't trust anything about anything with this administration, unfortunately. And it's going to rain in 10 minutes. My weather thing just went off and I opened all the windows because it got so hot. We often think about human-induced climate change as something that will happen in the future, but it's happening now. Right now. It is happening now. Ecosystems and people in the United States and around the world are affected by the ongoing process of climate change today. We're living it, Snicks. But that's why we need to acclimate ourselves to what we are, I don't know how long I'm going to be around, but while I'm around, I'm going to goddamn be safe. Right? Wait a minute, Tommy. I think you have a good comment here before I move on. Exercise and healthy eating are a form of prepping. You don't want to be in the position of relying on pharmaceuticals after collapse, which is what I've been working on for years as far as not needing much. And I really don't need much. I've got no heart problems. All of us have to look at that, Tom. And you're right about that. All of us have to look at the health issues we have. Some of us, it's not a blame thing either, because we are human and we are, depending on what age you are, you may not be able to go without. So there's no guilt here. There's no shaming. There's nothing like that. Not here. But not everybody's able to be off medications. All right. So in this flow of my brain, I wanted to talk about infrastructure a little bit. And I wanted to go back in time. You remember in 2018, do you remember, and we talked about this on the channel back then, the Mexico Beach house that was one of the last standing after Hurricane Michael? Remember that? Oh, and I know, Tommy, you're not judging. I would never think you would. So in Mexico Beach, during that tornado, there was one house that was left standing. Now, I don't advocate for anybody to rebuild on the beaches. I think that's the first definition of insanity, but they're going to do it. There are some that are smart enough, have enough money, like this guy in Mexico Beach, who built a house that was the only house that made it on Mexico Beach. Remember? Climate scientists predict the storms will continue to intensify. Now, this was from 18, so obviously we've seen that. We've seen it. It wiped out a lot of Mexico Beach, and that's on the Florida panhandle. And winds came in at 155 miles an hour, so it was just shy of reaching a Category 5. And that's the house. He owned it with his nephew. It was built to withstand 240-mile-an-hour winds. Wow. Do you know what that is? I sit here and worry about 40-mile-an-hour winds. And this guy's talking about 240-mile-an-hour winds, but knowing full well that they're living in an area that's basically essentially fucked. You get a hurricane, and the more they build up, the more homes, the more people, the more damage, the more money. But I just wanted to illustrate, though, that probably since 2018, the building, the infrastructure has gotten better storm after storm after storm. But with the insurance issues now, the insurance industry not wanting to insure people, I don't think it can continue. It's not infinite. I mean, there's just no way. There's no way. But this was another house. This was, let's see. Troubles him that people are confusing the message with the messenger when it comes to science. King pleads with his climate denier friends to watch Al Gore's latest film, An Inconvenient Sequel, Truth to Power, and form their own opinions rather than going along with what politicians say. So he's probably a lefty, a liberal prepper. Obviously, he's a prepper with money because he could build that, right? But the guy is obviously not stupid. So when they were looking around Mexico Beach, which I'll never forget this, and Jennifer and I were just riveted to this when it happened. All the houses, look at that. Now, my shitty ass house is never going to withstand. It won't withstand. I would say if it went through an E1, but it didn't actually hit. It hit the deck, and it hit part of the roof. But it didn't. Anything more than that, I don't think this house would make it. And that's why I sit in the basement, But see? So it was the one guy. There's Mexico Beach. And now that's a hurricane. We're not even talking about fires. Oh, shit. Hang on. Fuck. Okay. I'm going to have to play you a video because it just started pouring. Hang on. I'm going to play this for you.
Hey folks, this is Emily here with an update of my reasonable prep video. If you're someone who's trying to get ready to respond to change, I think it's really useful to have a framework of how to get ready to respond to change. And I wouldn't say that I'm like the super best expert on this, but my 2024 reasonable prep video got a lot of feedback. It had the most people who reached out to me of any single video so far saying that this helped them, to put a framework around their resilience work. So I hope it'll help you too, and I hope that you hear this is not a hardcore video. This is about rolling with the punches in terms of resilience. In this video, we're going to talk about resilience building inside and out to get ready for a more challenging future. And if you want to do that, I think it's really important that you start with this first question. So that question is, am I being a nut? And there's a reason that prepping is a loaded term, right? We all know someone who should have asked themselves this intro question. A friend of mine, when we were in high school, her dad got really into the whole Y2K thing. He spent a ton of money on end of world supplies that his family never used, and the whole escapade really damaged his family relationships, especially his family's trust in his judgment, which is something that should be a top priority for all of us to preserve going into a more difficult future where our families need leadership and security. My friend told me, though, the worst part of the whole shenanigans was that he did make them eat all of the weird canned food he bought, and it was like not at all the food they normally ate. It was these giant flats of Vienna sausages,
Wow.
all these highly processed meats that she didn't normally eat and found really gross. I can promise you, the whole school knew about these secret preps. And that's what's going to happen to you, too, if you're acting like a nut. I think an important way to tell if you're being a nut or not is to consider how your preparation is making you feel. Building resilience should be a positive activity that helps you feel more secure. If you find yourself feeling more than secure, like if you're having feelings of invincibility, that's not healthy. And neither is finding yourself in a spiraling place where maybe you'll feel safe if you can get another 3 tubes of surgical glue.
Just as an aside, I was going to play this anyway, Emily. It is absolutely freaking pouring, and I opened the windows. It's not on the weather map. It's not even showing on the weather map that it's pouring at my house, but it is absolutely freaking pouring. So I'm sorry, and now I think we're going to get a thunderstorm. God damn it! I cleaned up everything. All right, it poured so much into the living room that everything is drenched in there. But we're going to keep going. If the power does go off by any chance, I have backup.
That's not, neither of those is good, right? We need a middle path here. We want to be open to new information, but not ready to jump all the way down a conspiracy rabbit hole. We want to look for legitimate information, have some sense of authority and legitimacy in our information sources, while remaining open to uncertainty and change. Accepting that there really aren't absolute right answers in times of change is important. Building household resilience, it should be aligned with our total health and with our family's well-being. That's what's most important. Because here's the thing, stuff can't make us safe. Stuff can't make us feel better inside. A huge amount of stuff won't save you, and it might make you a target. But the right amount of stuff is definitely nice to have, especially in an emergency. So to help keep yourself on track, to help keep you on a middle path, to help keep you on a right size amount of stuff, I recommend prepping for these and only these
what I wanted
scenarios. Those 3 scenarios let you build resilience in 3 stages. For 3 bad days, like you had an acute event or a need to evacuate. For 3 bad weeks where you wanted to be able to lie low and shelter in place, or maybe you were not going to be able to access the outside world. Like me, I live on a hill and sometimes we get ice storms. Or for a 3-month situation where you're laying in some resilience, some give in your personal system to help your community through a longer term serious event. I'm sure some folks who are listening are like, 3 months, that's not enough time. And
okay, I'm gonna stop there. But that's American Resiliency. I have had Dr. Emily Shorning on as a guest. Her channel is absolutely fantastic. And again, to learn, she's got so much in it, and it doesn't cost you anything. So she's got workshops, bunker not required. She's got everything you want to know about where to live. She does everything. So it's a fantastic channel. Okay. And she's fantastic. And she just did the Northeast overview, which was another fantastic look at 19,000 views. I am so proud of her because it's taken her a long time to get where she is. And again, I'm going to bring her back again. I'm so proud. People are probably a lot of lefty preppers are watching Dr. Emily Shorning. So I think I'm just going to give her a little applause because I love her. And I talk to her. And one of our really good followers, Gary Ballard, who is a person who's designing the futuristic city, kind of like a 15-minute city, but not really a 15-minute city. And he's just starting a thing. He was doing some work with her. So anyway, so she's wonderful. And this is a free resource right here. I mean, you want to help, there's ways to help, but it's a free resource. You don't have to take a course. Okay. So we're going to move over. Let me just hear something. Wow. I can't believe it. I'm going to have a mess to clean up in the living room. I don't think we're having thunder. Let me just look at, I'll look at the weather. I could pull it up, but I'm not doxing myself, my exact location. I can't do that, but it says, what does it say here? Well, it's not that windy. It's really not that windy. It's just really raining. One of the big things about having a metal roof is that it's louder. And it took me a while to get used to that. So it always sounds like it's torrential rain. All right, we're moving over. I'm taking you to Blue Sky, to where I put this up today. And it's, let's talk prepping. So I put it up to advertise. I got 25 likes. I'm perfectly fine with whatever, you know, like I'm not your typical YouTuber, and I do what I do what I want to do, but I like to educate. That's a big thing for me, and turn you on to things that I think are really interesting, like Alex Steffen, but definitely Emily, Dr. Emily. So God damn, it's really, really pouring. Through this here, Hugo follower, you know, we have this little community on Blue Sky. And once I posted this, everybody came on. You know, Hugo, one benefit is collapse acceptance. I talked about Karen, who's wonderful. She's been with us, and this is her discussion with Michael Dowd. She's been with me. She's been with Jennifer and me. And then more, but I wanted to get to Scout. Scout writes, just to be clear, my prepping involves zero consumption. I already own tools for fixing stuff and can borrow from friends. Scout's in the UK, I do believe. We have always bought food as part of a co-op in bulk, and I've been doing bushcraft for 30 plus years. Now, how really interesting Scout is, and so I decided, because I already subscribe to his tiny channel. And I also really like small, tiny little YouTube channels, because people are amazing, creative, and educational. And some really do give a shit, and they just like to share. They just like to share information. So there's Joanne. He's got things up, and I'm going to show you one of his channels is called Nature Connection. And it's a tiny little channel. Go subscribe. He's got 58 subscribers. But he makes these videos to show you about food and life and tadpoles. You know, Alan does that. And I should have pulled up Alan's channel, Rollins Switch. He's got a new channel too. I'm going to have to pull it up. He makes beautiful videos, but it's calming stuff. It's really calming stuff. And he's making music. People love small YouTube channels. But this is his Solidarity Prepping. And this is the one I really wanted to show you. Solidarity Prepping. He's got 18 subscribers. So we need to get him some more subscribers. But I wanted to show you that. And I'm going to show you another video, because I like interactive. It's, you know, if somebody doesn't like it, right, exactly. In collapse, we won't be able to Google how-to videos. That's why I said buy the books, all the how-to books, all the cooking books, the canning books, all those books. Buy them. Okay, I'm going to show you his little video.
Hello.
And it's very sweet, and it's just another person in the community, and it's a wonderful thing. So let's watch him.
Hello everybody, welcome. This is a new channel, Solidarity prepping is about prepping for the climate crisis. This is about people who are aware of climate change, who actually want to make adjustments in their life for what is coming down the pipeline. It's aimed at people who want good advice on how they can plan forward on the climate emergency without having to cope with videos about migrants, coping with climate change, coping with emergencies that arise and the anxiety, mutual aid, mutual support, and working together. So solidarity prepping is essentially a climate change aware prepping channel for people who are aware about climate change and wanting to know how and help with mitigating situations that might arise from climate related incidents like severe storms, etc. So we'll be looking at things like power, communications, so communications that you're receiving, so for example,
all for free,
internet or radio, etc. So how you keep up with the news to find out what's going on, how do you find out what's going on in your area. The other thing that we'll be talking about is how you cope at home, so you know, if the gas goes off or the electricity goes off, or you know, what are the things that you need to keep running, and if the water gets cut off, ways that you can cope, buying a small amount of water.
Yeah, all the things I was talking about.
How much water you might need per person per day for
a lot of us out here.
No water for a week. And so we'll be looking at both the sort of the water that you might wash with and the water that you would be drinking and cooking with. A major topic that I'll be looking at, how to process human waste, and I'll be looking at how to do it on a small scale, on a small community garden space, how to do it in your back garden if you need to. Basically, there's going to be a time at some point when the sewage system within this country just grinds to a halt.
Okay, I thought that was definitely worth a watch. So, solidarity prepping, new little channel, says, what does he say? Practical tips for family preparedness in a climate and ecological emergency. The channel's aimed at people who aren't preppers and who might be put off by conspiracy discussions about the WEF, UN, NASA, NOAA, science denial, and by the belief that migration or cultural change is a bigger problem than climate change. Musk and the oligarchs want you to believe that. It serves them. In other words, this channel is about how we plan for it and avoid jargon and the impossible. This is prepping for the left, wokerati, decent people who just want to raise their families in a peaceful society. Vegetarian option for preppers are here, multicultural prepping. So there you have it. And this is, it's so wonderful to me that there are just so many amazing people on this planet. We can hate humanity. We can hate what humanity's done as a whole, but think about everybody that's in this chat and all these people that we find, all these people I have found in my time on social media. Sometimes it's a good thing, like Void and Anthony and Kim and Del Sol, all of you that are in the chat. You wouldn't be here if you were a scumbag. I know you wouldn't, because scumbags don't like me. Now, I want to introduce you to Huples Cat, another wonderful, amazing channel. He was an RN in a Toronto hospital. All through the pandemic, taught us how to bake our masks, to reuse them or whatever. He is an amazing channel, full of so much good stuff. And he's not he is a prepper channel, and a lot of preppers follow him. Some of them argue with him because he's got some of those controversial right-leaning type of preppers, and oh well. But here, let's listen to this.
So clean the wound as much as you can, clean around the wound as much as you can, and then get your piece of bandage. I wouldn't actually bandage this type of a wound, but if it was in the wild I might. So it's easy access. So to make it easy access, you just do this. And now you have the outside.
He does make funny stuff,
and
Veg.
you have the inside, which you don't want to touch. So how do you deal with this? Well, quite straightforward, it turns out. You have this last piece here, and when you pull like this, you can pull this apart, exposing the inside. You don't want to touch this piece at all. This piece is sterile, but there is paper on this piece, so you can hold it there and do this. You then do this. Get your wound, put this over the wound, like so. Then holding the paper, not the inside, peel it like this. And if you're smart, and I'm a child, or I don't like pain, get the edge of this and just slightly fold it over a little bit, like so. So when you come to take this off, you just got to edge. Oh, this is One Foot Terrier Productions 2024.
All right.
Clean the wound.
So I'm going to show you his channel. He's a great channel, okay? Just a terrific channel. Goes back for a long time. Another very small, not even 5,000 like me. 1.9 thousand videos. He has a Patreon, but he does political things. He does prepping things. He's definitely a wonderful Canadian. You can go back and find hiking and off-grid and medical, all kinds of things. He's like me. He actually he does what he wants to do on his channel. Nobody tells him what to do. He just likes to do, and he brings you to all kinds of different places. Here, let's look at this one. 3 years ago, and he takes you on the hike, shows you all the different places, and he's got a great personality. All right, what happened here? 3 years ago, the aliens came for me. Very entertaining he is. I want to share these people with you to enhance your life and know that you don't always have to spend money on it. Of course, donations are always accepted. Super chats are always accepted. Now, what is he doing? The aliens came for him. Okay, what do you guys guess he's doing? What is he looking for? Uh-oh.
So I've just come back from a bit of break and entry, found some good stuff. I'll show you that in a minute. But there's a lot of the flitters flying around this morning, and I'm not really that comfortable. Don't want to get zapped. So about an hour from home, so there's
an hour from home
conduit pipe that I actually will bunk in. So what I do is I get 5 or 6 of these bags, fill them full of leaves, and sleep on 2 or 3 of these, and have a couple of them on the sides.
That's what he was doing.
And it's pretty toasty.
See?
And I do reuse these.
Of course it was functional and amazing.
These are always useful. I find, whether it's just me,
that's what I have downstairs.
The flitters, if I'm lying flat on the ground with one of these over me, shiny side down.
All right, I'm gonna go because the audio's too low. You said.
Don't see me.
I think
the
that's.
important thing is your head and your body.
All right, you get the drill. Huples Cat, great channel, really, really good channel, and I wanted to share. It was low. It was probably too low, but hey, I was blabbing through it anyway. So what's the difference? Okay. So we went to Huples Cat. All these links will be in there, and I want to move on before I'm through. And because we're talking about prepping, and because we're talking about things that happen, I went into Reddit Preppers, and I'm looking, and they're talking about Spain and Portugal. Now, they just had a blackout. And, of course, there's conspiracy theories all over the place about the Spain and Portugal blackout. And it could happen here. And it's, whatever. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. Hello from Spain, where we had a blackout for several hours. Things I learned. I forgot to put ice in the refrigerator in case it took longer for the power to come back on. I could have reacted faster. On the other hand, the analog radio, stored food, and flashlights worked perfectly. In the end, it only lasted about 8 hours in good weather and temperature, so it was easy. ETA, I forgot to explain you. I think the biggest problem was the railway system. So many trains, so many people, stacked people who had arrived at far places. So this was from Spain, and these are preppers from Europe. I was in Segovia. 2 things I learned. Community is everything. And thinking about preps, the radio that's been in my Amazon chart for the last 6 months is not enough. I went outside and everyone was sharing information. Cars stopped with windows rolled down, blasting the radio, people helping each other. I went to check on my elderly neighbor and there were already other neighbors there. I'm so proud of my community. I just hope there isn't much food waste. And then another person, my husband was worried about 2 things. First, if we had cash, we have cash because I've been storing cash. Second, his ice cube tray in the freezer has been curating for the summer. After 13 hours without electricity, the ice cubes are intact. Second wind, that must be a European thing. I read this and I made sure that I had 4 filled ice cube trays in my freezer after just reading this. Okay. Problems. I was completely isolated. My cell phone doesn't have a radio. There was no cell coverage. My car had a quarter of deposit only. Oil stations closed. No food home. Yesterday was grocery day. We do have legumes, rice, and pasta, but little more. Tap water was surprisingly working, but we'll have to stock more. So people are talking in Europe what they did because of the power outage and how it would be, how they dealt with it and the things that they were lacking. When you're in an emergency situation, you'll know what you're lacking. Totally. And this person's from Portugal. On this side of the border, the power outage lasted from 11:30 to about 23. Cell phone cover lasted 3 hours or more, so it was out at 1500 hours. Me and the wife were at our jobs and decided to walk home about 10 kilometers each. But as we have designated meeting points for emergencies and we were prepared with emergency stock, radio, and lights in our house, we were relaxed. Things to notice. Most people don't own a portable radio, so they were not able to get information. Most newer smartphones require internet connection to listen to the radio, so they were useless. Many people have all-electric kitchens, so they weren't able to cook or take a shower. People living at higher floors lost water instantly, but it pretty much depended on your location. Government said it could last 10 to 72 hours to restore power, but it was done in 12. So this is really interesting, to take stock after something happens of the deficits, the things you don't have, the things you're not ready with. So I thought that was pretty interesting to share with you, because it's not just the United States that are prepping. And there's one more group. This, I'm not going to show you the group. Oh, no, that's not the group. Oh, shit. Oh, well. I had the Lefty Prepper group brought up. And here, the link to Sam, his bugs in a jar. He fell off the roof, and he's in bad shape. So here's the GoFundMe, if you know who he is. It's a tough thing to be our age and fall off a goddamn roof. Yeah. So I think I went through quite a bit with you guys. We went through being, well, preparing for more so hurricanes, tornadoes. We didn't even talk about fires. How do you prep for a fire? Prep for a fire. You have to take shit and leave. You can't hunker down like maybe with a tornado in a safe room or a basement. You've got to hunker down and leave. You cannot withstand a fire. So that's a whole different thing. Dr. Daniel Swain talks about it on Weather West. There are a lot of people that deal with the fires that happen all over. So that's a whole different kind of fire prep. And this year, I know I talked to you about cleaning up all the dead crap around my place, which I did as good as I thought I could. Things are starting to turn green, but I know there's potentially drought conditions, which obviously did not happen a few minutes ago when I got the rain in. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, 4 people that fell off roofs. Listen, it's a suck-ass thing. And I said in the beginning of the show, he was at a friend's helping her, and then he was going to come here and help me with my garden like he does every year. On the way back to his Airbnb, Bugs in a Jar Farm, which won't be open. So, oh boy, this is a good thing to know. I'm prepped, and I have a room for a dozen people, so if things get that bad, let me know. Well, I thought about, if I did want to sell everything, would now the new prime minister feel sorry for an old lady that might want to move to Canada? Because I'd need health care. I definitely need health care. Oh, and your city is not designed for evacuations. A lot aren't. Buffalo has some evacuations. Of course, I'm not there in the city, but that's the closest big city for me. What else? What else did I save? Any couple of them? Oh, Huples is fun, but you'd need a lot of money to prep the way he does. To be fair too, I mean, he had a good income, and he is retired. He had a good job as a nurse, but he does get some of the stuff like the Apoca box, which I have here, a bunch of them, but I don't get it anymore because I couldn't get one for free because my channel's too small to show you. I think I did a couple of shows on the Apoca box. They were fun, all kinds of prepping crap that I don't need really, but the things that are in there are things you would need, things that you can use in lieu of electricity, when you need some clean water. And that blanket that I showed you on the video, that came in an Apoca box, actually. That camo with the silver in the side that keeps you warm. So actually that, all right, maybe it wasn't so bad. Prepping can help people to see they can live without fossil fuels, which could actually undermine the energy industry's revenue stream, those son of a bitches. Yep. Let's do something good. We are. And we have tonight. We did something good. I think we did something great. I hope that you got a lot out of this. And we didn't do a flush. And I can't go without a flush. So let's think of what can we flush. Anybody have an idea of what we could flush? Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Gravity-fed water filter. Good one. Good one. All right, I need to ask you, what am I going to flush, guys? Flush the orange turd. All right, we're going to flush the orange turd because of I think he just definitely is stepping over to fascism. Worse. I wish. Yeah, this is good, Alan. Before the collapse, tell your neighbors to stop using poisons everywhere. Well, good idea. My neighbor across the street with the farm, not the ones across with the horse farm, the ones across, they were spreading manure, and it stunk for 2 days. I had the windows, I'm like, even with the windows not open, I could smell it when I was outside. I was like, oh my God, it's that time of year, the manure time of the year. I don't think he uses any pesticides, but I have seen, yeah, that turd won't flush. He will not flush. He never goes down. Hi, Alex. Oh, shit. She's laughing. Well, we're all laughing because we know how pathetic it is, especially the newest bullshit. I'm telling you, my conspiracy is every stinking police department in the United States should be pissed off that they think that they can't do their jobs and we need the military on the streets. Oh, my God. Good info. I try to be as prepared as I can afford. I'm a low-income senior. Yeah, join the club. But that's the whole point, was to show you that there's so many different things out there and what we can do. We don't necessarily have to take an expensive course, although, I mean, Alex is clearly trying to make it affordable. and he has to make a living, and he has useful information, and he is a trainer teacher. So, I have respect, and that's why I showed you. Am I stocking up on particular things? Yeah, cat food and cat litter. And a lot of cat shit. Honestly. So if you have cats and you're hard up and you want to rob me for cat food and cat litter, I'm still going to hurt you. Okay. See, I'm not a fully lefty prepper, I'm a different I live where I live, and sometimes you just are like who you live with. Yeah. Ernie, are you leaving? Okay. Hey, regular old-fashioned spreading is one thing, but that stores shit. Like, water is disgusting. I grew up at a farm way back when it was normal. It's bad. What's my cat's name? My cat? I have 6 of them. Buddy. And, 7 died. Buddy and Dottie and Marty and Max and Rosebud and Siku. Inuit Ice, Siku. And 2 died, and I buried them in the backyard. And that's what started this herniated disc, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, what's the cat's name? Stir Fry! It's dad joke night. Hey, I gave you all the names anyway. The collapse is happening right now. It is. We're living it. Whether it's in my spine or it's out there in life, it is happening. Hi, Nadia. Nadia Seeds. Oh, okay. Where's Nadia? She didn't understand something. What do you mean? I don't understand. Talking about manure spreading. One of my friends who lives in rural Wisconsin stocked up on a half a trailer of toilet paper and a half a trailer of potato chips at Y2K. In 2005. Oh shit, the mice turned everything to shreds. That in a trailer. Jeez. That I have to say is, I can understand toilet paper to a degree. I have a case of toilet paper of reused, not reused, recycled toilet paper. Okay. Are you still joking in there, Kitten Chow Mein? Oh, you guys are so silly. All right. Yeah, that's a classic. I put food in bear-proof containers, but I think it got fungi mold probably. Maybe. But you could find a use for that. I bet you could. You can't live without your... Where is that? Wait a minute. Where's the bidet comment? Where are you? Now I know how it goes so fast. Oh, you can't live without your bidet. We had one of those growing up, believe it or not. The house my parents had a bidet. I think they were trying to make it a 1970s sales point. It had a bidet. Yep. Yeah. During the collapse, use both sides of the toilet paper. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay, that was too loud. Very good one. Very good one. All right, everyone. I think we covered a lot, and we've had fun at the end here. And then you didn't see my new intro. My new I do what I want. I'm kind of like flexing my, my muscles here. Yeah, toilet paper gold. You guys are fun. You're fun. You already live like a savage. You'll be fine. I don't live like a savage, but I've learned the art of not having to take a shower every day. For sure. It's living alone. Yeah, buy tons of it. Yeah, because you might have to use leaves. And then knowing me, I'd use poison ivy. Oh, you need a bidet. Well, they are pretty cool. Yeah. Do you think that I'm an economist, Giant Curve? It's already gone up. my coffee, which is this low acid, high antioxidant designer, yuppie, lefty coffee, has gone up in $10. But I have enough for at least 3 months. Yeah, it's effectively extinct. It is. It is. That's why, you know, I'm growing some herbs to make tea with. You're having fun now, turning underwear inside out for an extra day, right? You guys are great. You ready for anything? I'm not. No, coffee and chocolate, bye-bye. You know. Oh, hell. Don't forget to cover your heart. Aww. Da-da. Okay. Yeah, tomorrow night we've got Carlos back with us. He's good. I like Carlos. We have fun. I love Left Past 10 because it is a show that I can just be silly with Andrea and Matt, and we don't script it, and I really enjoy doing it. I don't have to run it either. Catnip tea. I'm growing catnip. I started all that. Good night, everybody. Good night. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And no... Oh, I forgot I had one more video I didn't show you. Oh, well, I can't. You don't want to see it, do you? I mean, there's 57 of you, but I'm not going to show it. Oh, thank you, Dean. Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone. It's been fun. Yay. See you Friday. Paul Beckwith, 9 p.m. Eastern.